looking snorkel if I do say so myself. Alright, so I got my snorkel all completed. It's in place here. It's fastened. It's looking good. I got it all painted. I have one more thing left to do to it here before I call it done. If you guys remember a couple of videos back where I used a pair of pantyhose as kind of a pre-filter for the stock snorkel, I'm going to do the exact same thing with this guy. So what I'm going to do is I took them same pair of pantyhose and I just cut a flat piece of it. Now what I'm going to do is stretch this over top, just hold it in place, and cut a small piece of my PVC that I will be able to fit in place there. And then what I'll do is I'll take my scissors and trim this, and you'll have a pre-filter for your snorkel as well. And there you go, an instant pre-filter for our snorkel as well. Cheap, easy, and you can carry a spare pair of pantyhose if this gets all crudted up. No problem to put a new piece on during your ride. So we just about have this project all finished up here. One more thing we have to do before we put everything back together is we want to make sure to hit all our electrical connectings and fittings with Dielectric Grease. That'll help keep the water out and make sure we have no problems. Now, most of the connectors in this are quote-unquote sealed, but we don't want to take any chances, so we're going to make sure. I'm going to do my best here to show you guys where each of these are. It's going to be a little tricky because some of these are back in there. I don't know if I can get my camera in there good enough to see. But let's start here at the front, and I will show you all the ones that I have found. So first off here, starting in the front, by our steering wheel. If you look here, here's our steering shaft. And then just to the left of it here, there is 1, 2, and 3 connectors right here. Now the easiest thing with these to do is to go ahead and squeeze these little tips here, pop these out so you can get at them easier, and then hit those 3 right there. Now from those 3, if you look right here, we've got a couple more connectors here. We got 1 right here and 1 right here, and again that's just to the right of our steering shaft. Now coming back up here, there's our steering shaft, and here's our frame support where we ran our vent line. If we come clear across to the passenger side, we have a big connector right here to hit. And then depending on if you're running the accessory harness for the Pioneer, the plug for that is right underneath. So if you have this plugged in with the accessory harness, then you will need to hit that as well. I don't have the accessory harness, so that's plugged off and taped, but I'll probably still pop this off and throw a little grease in there just to be on the safe side. I have my power steering here, which has all these connectors I'll hit. You may have those if you have a power steering. If not, obviously these are not going to be there, so you don't have to worry about them. And then clear over here on the passenger side, next to our coolant reservoir, we have a plug here that runs to our headlights. We want to make sure to get that as well. Now coming back here to the side, we have our plug for our fuel pump right here on top of the gas tank. We have our connectors for our PCM. We want to make sure we get those with the grease. And then just below that, we have our connector here that is connected to our handbrake. It's basically just a wire that tells you when the brake is on that the little light comes on in the dash. Of course, moving to the back here, we have our brake light plug that you saw when we took the rack and the fenders off. And then we have our battery box. Now you can see here that we've got a lot going on inside our battery box. The nice thing is there aren't that many connections, and the connections that are in here are sealed. It is not gonna hurt for this stuff to get underwater. What I am going to do is there's a connector in here, one back in here. I don't know if you can see. I will pull those. I'm gonna Dielectric Grease those. This little box right here holds our fuses, and although the back of them where the wires go in are sealed, this front really isn't, this lid isn't. So again, I'm going to take my Dielectric Grease, go around here with it, and then that'll help keep the water out of the front. I do have something else planned for this that I'm going to do at a later date. I'm just not going to worry about it right now because I have other things I want to get to first. So if you feel a little leery about leaving everything in the battery box where it is, then stick around because there'll be another project focusing just on that later on, probably the beginning of next year. Now to get to the connectors that are underneath the air box, we just take the air box off, which is super simple. You have the one connector here to take off, which we'll Dielectric Grease later. One 10mm bolt here. And you gotta take a crankcase breather hose off, which runs into the side of the air box here. And it's actually easiest to take the little clip off down there and pull the hose and everything off. And then one more screw here that's below your box that connects your air box elbow into the throttle body is right down in here. That guy right there. So here's a little better view of the box for you, okay? Again, you had the crankcase breather hose to take off. This is the bottom fitting that went into your throttle body you had to take off. There is a drain plug hose there that just had a little clip to take off, and then with this one bolt out, this will come right off. Now as you can see here, this is the factory seal Honda puts around this, and you can see how it's just already flaking off. So we're going to clean this up, go around this with the ultra black, and the same with this guy here on the front, and on here for our crankcase breather hose as well, and we're going to seal that up really good. Now with our air box off, we got some more connectors here to hit with the Dielectric Grease. So as you can see, we're here at the back, we're going towards the engine, and then right here to the right we have two connectors down here, a connector just above it, and then a connector just forward of that we need to hit. We have a connector here, goes into our throttle body. One right here to hit. There's one hidden back here. And then on the motor itself, we have one right there just ahead of our spark plug cap. And then just to the left, we have one hidden way back in here as well. And then a tricky one to get at, it's way down here by our muffler. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but there's one way down there as well. Alright guys, so I'm pretty sure that is all the electrical fittings we have on this to hit with the Dielectric Grease. Unless I've overlooked one, if I have, make sure to let me know in the comments below. Now putting Dielectric Grease in all your fittings is not rocket science, but a lot of people do it the wrong way. So I want to go over this real quick for you guys on the one fitting, and then you can apply it to all the other fittings. Now what a lot of people will do with it is take the female part of their connector, and they'll stick this over here and just as full as they can fill her up. But all that does is make a mess when you push it together. The correct way to do it is to just take a small pea-sized amount here on your finger, smear it into the male connector part actually, like so, and that is all the more Dielectric Grease you need. Stick them together and you're done. So now it's just a matter of taking your time and making sure to grease all your electrical connections. Yes, it's kind of tedious work, but it's going to be well worth it when you get in the water and your machine just keeps on right trucking afterwards. So I'm going to get busy and grease all my connectors. The next video I will show you guys what I did to seal up my air box to keep water from getting into it. So as this is now the holiday season and Christmas is just right around the corner, I may end up missing an upload or two here or there just because of other obligations I'm going to have. But don't worry, I'll be back and I've got big things in store for 2018. So until next time, I want to wish all you riders out there a very Merry Christmas. I hope Santa Claus brings you lots of stuff for your side-by-sides. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to meet some of you guys come next year. And don't forget, if you have a quick tip you'd like to share on Appalachian Mountain Riders, to head over to my Appalachian Mountain Rider Facebook page and let me know. So once again, have a Merry Christmas, everyone. And it doesn't matter what you ride, as long as you ride. So keep on riding. Cameo by Kitty. You really like to be on this camera, don't you? You like it when I film, don't you?